Hey, this is Dr. Kathy with Beautifully Broken Counseling, and I just want to talk to you about something. You know, there's things in our lives that sometimes they seem mundane, but after we live a while, we find out that they were quite impactful for the person. And I just want to share some of those stories. Some of them are funny. These are all around food and how God used food to help someone. Find the Lord and how that worked out. So the funniest one was Todd and I were newly married, and we'd had my parents down and my family for our housewarming, and my mom was cooking, and we had some kind of rolls, and I've been terrible all the time with always like, okay, I'm going on keto, I'm going off keto, I'm going on keto, I'm going off keto. You're going to drop the carbs, then you're going to get the carbs. It's just a yo-yo, right? But anyway, so we're in our new house, and I just nested, and it was an old plaster house, and I was joking with Todd that we weren't doing the carbs, and so my mom was trying to get a roll to him around my back, and it was funny. But he says that I pushed him, but I didn't. I actually went to hug him, and when I went to hug him, I did a full body hug, and we both went through the sheetrock. Now that was funny because this was a rental house, and there is an entire body-shaped hole in the sheetrock. No one's dead, but here we are. We have this in this house. We have to get it fixed. So we called this guy who was our neighbor. His name was Arturo, and we asked him if he would come and fix it. So he came and he fixed it. And I asked him, I said, do you have, do you have church or what about? And I found out that he was lost, and he really didn't have a church family. He didn't have anyone. He was from another country. And I said, you know what? Well, I love to cook, so I'm cooking dinner tonight. You're welcome to stay. He said, yeah, sure. So he was from a country where you didn't turn down a meal. So I made this great dinner. We sat down, we talked, and Todd was able to lead him to the Lord. So there, through a hole in the wall, doing low carb that didn't work out, and having a meal with someone, a stranger, he became a Christian. And then later on, he brought his family, and then they were helping some children in the neighborhood whose mother had actually used up all their money on the gambling machines, and they had no food. So they would bring them to church on Sunday morning where Todd was preaching. And I happened to be teaching the class of one of the little children. And they were so hungry that when they would pick them up on Sunday morning, they would say, what can we get you? And they said, would you please just get us a box of cereal and some milk? And so he came into my class, and he became a Christian over a box of cereal and some milk. And then we went on, and Todd was able to baptize him. And that was just a great story. And we won't know until we get to heaven all the parameters and all the ways that was able to reach people around them, because they became prolific at telling people about Christ. Another one, and I'm going to give this away to one of my friends, and they're going to know. But we were counseling with a couple that was going to get married, and he was not saved. So I found out, I said, what's your favorite food? We have become friends. And I said, what's your favorite food? And he said, oh, I love hot dogs. Well, I am a great chili cooker. And so I made hot dogs and invited him over. And me and his now wife, we schemed to let him have his fill in the hot dogs, and then we were going to go somewhere where just girls go shopping, and we left him there with Todd. Well, we just decided we would go goof off. We thought we'd have to be gone for several hours before Todd convinced him, because he wasn't ready. But we got just up the street to a park, if I remember it right, and she can add to it. But we got a call, and Todd said, come on, it's done. So he became a Christian, and then they got married, and they're still together, and they have grandkids, and they're doing great and all these things. But that was from a hot dog. Then there was another time that when we had Philip, we had lost Philip. Philip was our foster child, and after 3.5 years, they decided he was not adoptable, and he had to be institutionalized, and there was nothing that we could do, and we were devastated. I have never in my life felt that way, to where I didn't know if there was any hope. And some friends of ours called and said, hey, what's your favorite kind of ice cream? And what's your favorite movie? And we said, okay. We told them what our favorite ice cream and our favorite movie was. And they just showed up. And we had ice cream, and we watched our favorite funny movie, and we were normal for a minute. And that was one of the greatest blessings that they could have given us at that time. They didn't come over and just sit and cry with us and mourn with us. We needed somebody that could come over and be normal and not treat us like we were these terrible people that couldn't raise a child. It was very freeing for us, I'll tell you that. And then there's one today that's a little sad. He just went to be with the Lord today. His name is Rusty. And Rusty was someone who would tell us that he was not going to be a Christian. He'd rather go play pool. But we loved him, and Todd, we goofed off with him, and he became friends with him. And Rusty liked Todd. He just liked Todd. And he didn't like preachers, but he just liked Todd. Well, his mother-in-law was just an amazing biscuit cook and gravy, sausage gravy. Well, if you know Todd, you know that gravy is just like straight out of heaven. It's like love potion number 9. It's the best thing in the world. He loves sausage gravy. And it just communicates something to him. I don't know what it is. But so his mother-in-law would make the biscuits. We'd go over. We just had a good time. We were just family. We went through some times with their family and things like that. Some were hard, some were good. But today, he went to be with the Lord, understand. And I got a message from his wife that he had told the people that Todd was the only pastor he ever had, and he had become a Christian. So you just never know. You never know what a little gesture can do. And I know all of you have stories like this. Leading people to the Lord and blessing people does not have to be hard. It just has to be kind, it has to be loving, and it needs to be rightly timed. And the way you rightly time it is if you are spending time with the Father and He is leading you and guiding you, His timing is perfect. And you have to also be willing to love them where they are and let them decide on their own time and their own way, and pray that God will get them before they have their last breath. So I speak to all of you out there today that are worrying about, tomorrow. If you know Jesus, your tomorrow is sealed. There's nothing that can change it. There's nothing that can separate you from the love of God the Father. But you first have to seal the deal with Him by accepting that He died on the cross for you and that He loves you, and that He has prepared an amazing meal for you in heaven when you get there. I love you. I thank you for listening, and I hope you can add some of your own stories in the comments. I would love to rejoice with you. And if there's anyone you're praying for that you want salvation to come to them, we pray as a family for those people that we're praying that they would be saved. We mentioned their names. You can DM me and just give me the first name, and we'll pray too. Because I know that times are short. I don't know what they're going to look like. In elections come. It's not the end of the world either way. We will get through it. We have had more things happen under this time because we have woken up and we've decided we like our freedom and we don't want to take it for granted. And more people are thinking about Christ right now than they ever have because the demons have been in our face. And that has nothing to do with party lines, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that the enemy must know that time is short because he is really raising his head. So if you have stories to share, please share them. We love you. If you would like to get in for counseling, look at our intake form at beautifulybrokencounseling.com, and we will get you in as soon as possible, either in Murfreesboro or Manchester. All right, have a great day, and God love you. Bye-bye.